Na bila shaka msikilizaji, mimi Kigogo na Madam Juice Mugo, we are fighters. Ni ngoma inajulikana kama Secretary General.
Maisha yetu imeenda viral.
Ndio, na ni Mungu ametubariki.
Amen.
Yeah, we are grateful today having you, Madam Joyce.
Amen.
Good morning, Madam.
Morning to you, how are you?
We are fine.
Tumekumiss sana James.
Yes.
Ulikuwa umepotelea wapi?
Alituambia
mambo ya kupotea.
Anakuja anatuambia alikuwa Dubai pale.
I hope umeleta mazuri.
Nimeleta mazuri. I'm back, ready to work.
Sawa.
Yeah, na mambo iko sawa.
That is good.
Mahali nilikuwa watu ni wazima. Na pia nyinyi nimefurahia kwamba nyinyi mu wazima.
Sisi tuko salama salimini.
Tunashukuru Mungu.
Tuko wazima kama kigongo, ndio? Na huyu tuko ni kigogo, ndio? Unaona tuko sawa.
Lakini sasa msikilizaji, ndani ya Chuka University Radio 98.8 FM tuko naye Madam Joyce Mugoi, career director hapa Chuka University, na vile kule YouTube tunampata kama Touch of Grace KE. Uweze ku-like, ku-comment na kusubscribe the YouTube channel, na kila conversation ambayo tunakuanga nayo hapa Tuesday huwa tunakuwa tunai-extend pale.
Exactly.
Kwa hivyo in case miss kitu hapa utaipata kule YouTube, Touch of Grace KE. Na siku ya leo my brother, unajua sasa wanafunzi walifanya mtihani wa kitaifa wa KCSE. Na after kufanya mtihani wa kitaifa wa KCSE wakapokea matokeo. Sasa wengi wanauliza tufanye nini na hayo matokeo.
What next?
Sasa mambo sasa imefika mazuri. The Kuccps portal is open. And students now can access the portal,
Right.
but now there are problems because students don't know how to go about it.
They don't know where to go. They know which website to visit. They don't know if they are going to visit the cyber. What should they do?
Now we have a specialist, Madam Joyce Mugoi, who will be taking us through, telling us now that Kuccps portal is open. How can the student access the portal and the criteria of selecting various universities, colleges, and TVETs? Bearing in mind that we have 39 public universities, we have around 30 private universities, 199 public colleges, 27 public colleges, and then 7 university TVETs.
Ni nyingi sana. Wanafunzi wote wanaweza toshea hapo. Wanafunzi wote wanaweza toshea hapo. Sasa the Kuccps portal is open and students are required to do revision. Actually we call it revision of courses. Why? Because ideally they were supposed to have selected these courses when they were in secondary school. But if they did not select, then they can still select now. If they selected, they need to revise. The reason why they need to revise is because they may have performed better than expected, or they may have performed lower than they expected. So they need to do revision. Also, some subjects may have scored better. Other subjects they may not have scored better. So revision is for every student. Whether you selected in secondary school or didn't select, you need to go there, go through the Kuccps website, go to the Kuccps website, then click student portal. There is a student portal. You click student portal, and then when you click the student portal, it will open a dialog box. In that dialog box, you're supposed to key in your KCSE index number, then key in the year of the year of when you did your exams. Now for them, they will key in 2022, and then they put the password. The password is supposed to be your KCPE index number or your birth certificate index number. I normally advise people to use KCPE index number. It's easier to remember, and you can easily be able to access it. So you key in that information, the portal will open. When the portal opens, what you come across are things like your cluster points. There are about 20 clusters. So in every cluster, you'll be having some kind of marks. These marks, you will use them to be able to select a course of your choice, comparing the cluster points you have and the cutoff points that have been given there. Every course in every university has cutoff points. These cutoff points are different in different universities, depending on supply and demand. Universities that are in high demand, their cutoff points are higher than universities that are not in high demand. So you may find you don't qualify for a course in the University of Nairobi, but you qualify for that course in Turkana University. You may find you don't qualify for that course in JKUAT, but you qualify in that course in Chuka University. So the students need to be very careful as they are selecting. They need to check the universities. They need to check the cutoff points of each course, and they compare with the cluster points. Now, in some clusters, I've said there are 20 clusters, and in some clusters, you'll be having 0, 0. The reason why you'll be having 0, 0 is because there could be a subject that is needed in that cluster. So if you didn't do that subject, you'll have a 0, 0. But they should not worry. Let's say an example, maybe you didn't do physics. And probably you want to do electrical and electronics engineering. And this one needs physics. Under that cluster, you will have 0, 0 because you did not do what? Physics. So let them go into the Kuccps portal. You've asked whether they should go to the cyber or they should go to the where they should be able to do it. There are some students that are able to do this even using their smartphones. If they have, they can be able to do it. If they don't have smartphones, they can visit a cyber. They can visit a cyber, but let them be active in the selection even when they are in the cyber. Let them not go there and tell the cyber person, nichagulie kozi hapo, ama nisaidie kuchagua, and then they fold their hands. They are on social media, they are on TikTok and so on. Mtu wa cyber anangangana hapo kuwachagulia course. These are the people that come to the university and they tell us, I didn't choose this course. Who chose it for you? Unajua si mimi nilijijazia. Nani alikujazia? You know, such kind of things. And then some also discover mtu wa cyber walimpatia pesa awachagulie courses and they didn't do. So unapata people have been selected to go to the university. You passed very well. You are still in the village. You ask yourself, why was I not picked? But I failed. Why was I not picked? I revised my courses. Why was I not picked? And probably the cyber person took your 1,500, pocketed, and told you that they have already filled for you the courses and they didn't. So they need to be very active. They can do it in the cyber. They can do it on their smartphone, but they need to be active for it. It's a simple process, actually. It's a very simple process. Even me, I've done so many videos, step by step, Kuccps revision. So they can go there to Touch of Grace KE and follow those steps. If they can't do that, they can still enter that portal. There are steps there given by Kuccps. Information is there. Yes, information is there.
Now that's good. Now student out there, you know how to access the Kuccps portal and to where to go. Now the problem comes in when it comes to the choosing of the courses.
The choosing of the course.
There are some factors that you should consider when choosing a particular course.
Yes.
You know, we go there open-minded, but when we reach the cyber,
you discover it is not as easy as you thought.
So what are some factors that we should consider, or a student out there should consider when choosing a particular course?
Okay. There are some factors to consider when choosing a particular course. The first thing that you need to consider is also your likes and your passion. You need to consider what you like. You need to consider your passion. You need to consider what is your interest? What is your interest? What area are you interested in? You know, there is nobody that can tell you do this course or do the other course. You need to show interest in some course. You need to check around. What is it that I can be able to do as myself? So the first thing that you need to consider is your interests, your likes, your passion, first of all. As you go there, what is it that you like? What are you passionate about? What are your interests? What are your likes? So you need to do that first of all. Then you also need to consider your personality. What kind of a person are you? Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? If you are an introvert, you are not a people person. You're not someone who will talk much. So therefore, you need to choose a course that will not make you talk to people or will not make you, be out there. Na unapata stress kuongea na watu. You need to choose a course where probably you'll work with things, you'll work with items, and not so much with people. So consider your personality. Are you an introvert? Are you an extrovert? An extrovert are like teachers. And social workers and people who engage people. People who engage people. A kind of work. Yes, you talk to people. You find out information. You are working with people. So those are extroverts. Those are people who are extroverts. You also need to consider your personality. Like I've seen this scenario a lot. When I go to schools and I ask students, what do you want to do? Because of the peer pressure, you'll find most of them saying, I want to do nursing. I want to do nursing. And if you ask this student whether they have ever slaughtered a chicken or whether they can even they cannot even stand blood. They cannot stand blood. They cannot stand to help someone. They cannot stand pass. They cannot stand someone who is going to the toilet on themselves. They cannot help anybody who is needy. So how can they be nurses? And nursing is a helping profession. A helping profession. A profession where usifunge mapua.
A lot of
compassion is needed because the people that are sick are in different situations. Some of them, they urinate on themselves. Some of them poo on themselves. Some of them, they need to be fed. Some of them, food is drooling out. Some of them, mucus is drooling out. So check your personality. What is it that you can actually be able to do? Don't go with people. Don't go with the crowd. Don't go with your peers. Go as a person, as an individual. The other thing you need to check, or something that can also influence your choice of career, is your environment. Where do you come from? Your environment can also influence the careers that you need to pick. Exposure is another thing, because you cannot pick a course you've never had. So be exposed.
There are those people who say you want to venture
new things, but you need to know the new things that you want to venture into. There are so many causes, by the way, in this world. It's just because we don't get exposed enough to know how many things we can be able to do, or the different things that we can be able to do. And so you find that someone in the rural area, the only main causes that they are exposed to are things like teaching, things like being a medical officer, things like being a nurse, things like, those things that are found around them. So they may not be so much exposed to know there are so many causes out there that someone can be able to do. So exposure also, how exposed are you? What kind of causes are you aware of? Then the other thing is ability. Ability, we can talk even about performance. Choose a cause according to your performance. Even if you wanted to be a doctor and you don't have that qualification, you cannot be a doctor. Maybe you can start from a lower level as you move on, but then you cannot become a doctor. So choose a cause according to your performance. What is your performance? Then choose a cause according to that. Yes.
Now, Madam James Mgoi, we are hearing a lot of views from our listeners. They are talking also. And, here outside we hear that journalism is more marketable than education. Nursing is more better than
whenever you do
sleepless nights.
These stereotypes that are here outside.
These stereotypes that are here outside about marketable causes and causes that are not marketable. The truth of the matter is, right now, there's no cause that we can say 100% this one is marketable. That if you complete fourth year, you will immediately get a job, employment. Of course, we have people that get employment immediately after their fourth year. But there is no cause right now currently that we can say this one is the most marketable one, so do this one or do that one. But we can say there are some causes that may have higher chances of employment than other causes. Now, I normally say there are three things. There are three questions to ask yourself if you want to know whether your cause is marketable or not. Three questions that you need to ask yourself. Number one, if you do that cause, can you self-employ yourself? That's one question you need to ask yourself. Anytime you're doing a cause, ask yourself, can I self-employ myself in case I don't get anybody to employ me? In case the government doesn't employ me and nobody employs me, can I employ myself? Ask yourself that question. If the answer is yes, that's a marketable cause. Another question you ask yourself, can I be employed by an individual or an independent institution? Can I be employed by an independent institution? Institution ya James, James alianza institution yake pale, anahitaji watu 50 wa kumfanyia kazi. I can become amen. He can absorb me. So are there independent institutions, independent bodies, independent organizations that can be able to employ you? If the answer is yes, that is a marketable cause. And the last one, can I be employed by the government? Can I be employed by the government? Are there opportunities within the government that I can get a job? If the answer is yes, you are in a very good cause. A cause that you can employ yourself, a cause that you can be employed by an independent body, and a cause that you can be employed by the government. That's a marketable cause. That's a marketable cause. And even these ones that you're mentioning, James, where you are talking about journalism and so on, are there opportunities of journalists becoming self-employed. Can journalists be able to employ themselves? Have you seen journalists that have employed themselves? Currently, yes. Long time ago, we only used to have a few radio stations, just a few. If you're not employed by those 2-3 radio stations, that is it.
That is the end of you.
That is the end of you. But currently, we have so many radio stations that are employing people. We have independent radio stations. We have government, related or government associated radio stations. We also have individuals that have come up with radio stations. And we also have individuals that are also having organizations or having digital media where they're giving information, where they're educating people, where they're helping people, and they are journalists. So again, in whatever cause that you are doing, find out whether you can be able to employ yourself, whether you can be able to employ yourself, or whether you can be able to start something on your own. So those are some of the things that people need to check out to be able to know whether their career or whether their cause is marketable, whether it is marketable. Yes.
The president
Yes.
and the education cabinet secretary,
Yes,
Ezekiel Machogu, some weeks ago,
yes,
Exactly.
they reviewed the university funding program, and maybe the fees, the university fees will be increased from maybe the 16,000 to 52,000. But different universities are charging differently according per different degree programs. For example, Bachelor of Law in Chuka University, it will cost 183,600 now, according to the program that the government gave us. But in Desta University, it will cost 335,000. This money must come from parents who will pay for the fees. As a parent, now, Madam Jesse Mugoy,
yes.
how will the increment of the university fee affect both parents and students?
Okay. Actually, there is a lot of talk about this new university funding model that has been launched by the government, and it has up to now different people are they are looking at it differently. And so you can hear people saying, like now what you are saying, James, that Chuka University is how much? 183 per year. And then Daystar is
335.
yes, and this is what parents are supposed to pay. But I don't think people need to panic, and I don't think people need to really worry so much about this, because even before, parents have been paying for this fee. Parents have been paying for this fee. Not that magnitude that you're talking about, and even that whatever you're talking about, I am thinking that that amount of money is not going to be paid by parents directly. Now, if someone comes to Chuka University, the government will fund that student. If someone goes to Daystar University, the government will not fund. So that 300 and something is purely
you as a parent.
You as a parent. So let me say this. Let me say how I've understood the government, the new university funding model. Number one, every student that has gotten a C+ and above qualifies to go to the university, and they will be absorbed in their university of choice. If they choose to go to Daystar, if they choose to come to Chuka, they will go to that university of their choice. However, those that choose government universities will be funded, but those that will not will choose private universities will pay for themselves 100%. Initially, the government was giving them some funding, but now the government is not going to give them funding.
Actually, if you choose to go in a private university, you'll only get help loans alone.
Yes, you can apply for help loans, but you will not be able to get the government funding that used to be there before. Now, as the students go to pick their courses, they should check how much the university is charging. That's even a responsible way anyway. I'm thinking the government also wants to make people responsible. If the same course in Chuka University is 100 and something, why go for that one? Can we market our university now? Let's market our university here. I mean, why go to Daystar if Chuka University, is under 200 and Daystar University is under 300. Anyway, that is the reasoning that the government wants the parents to have and their children to have. That pick a course that is affordable, that is affordable, and you can be able to chip in and you can be able to pay. So the tuition fee is indicated. The tuition fee is indicated alongside the universities, alongside the courses. Each course, you can be able to see how much it is. And then the way I've understood it also is that there will be scholarships, full scholarship for about 45,000 students. Around 45,000 students will get full scholarship from the government. And these students need to have come from needy families or from a poor background. Normally, there is that kind of assessment. Even before, there was assessment of assessing people that are needy and also being able to give them, other than the help that was being given, there was also the scholarship that they were being given. Actually, they were calling it bursary. You could get a bursary from HELB, and you could get a loan from HELB, because the higher education gives loans. Whatever you get from higher education loans board, you will pay it back. You will pay it back later. So there are around 45,000 students that come from needy families that will actually get almost 100% fee scholarships. They will get that. So those the remaining, if we are talking about 45,000, and the students that got C plus and above are around 170, actually 173 something. 173
students.
Yes. Exactly. So if 45,000 given full scholarship, then we will remain with around 128,000 students who will now go through this program of scholarships, being given some scholarships of up to around 53%, then being given help of up to 40%, and then balance they can be able to pay for themselves. Now, there's a lot of talk, and I was just wondering why it is looking like now there is a problem, and I am not seeing that problem right now. Right now, as it is, and as the government announced, I'm not seeing that problem. Do you know why I'm not seeing that problem, Anthony and James? Because even before, the government was funding students. The government was funding. There was also help. But the students and the parents were also paying. Let me give an example. I've seen students coming to the university and paying 36,000 in a year. If you are a first year, there are those one-time things. There are things that you pay once. You know, once when you join the university, you pay. All those things. It comes to around 36,000 in a year. And parents have been paying that. So even this one, I really, up to this moment, I really don't think there is cause for alarm. The only thing that I can call students to do is to pick a course in different universities that is lower. Okay, that is relatively lower in terms of fees, because that is responsibility. There is no way you can buy the same thing for a higher price when you can actually buy it at a cheaper price. So I'm thinking the government just wants people to be responsible. Be responsible. Be responsible, knowing that you're going to take responsibility of part of the money. And therefore, if you choose a university that is higher, you're going to be able to, you're going to shelve, or you're going to carry, or you're going to pay more. in terms of that. So really, right now, I'm not seeing a big challenge. Right now, I'm not seeing a big challenge. Unless the revision is done and people are placed, and then we start seeing emerging challenges and emerging problems. As per now, I'm not really seeing much of it. Yes.
Just to cut you short.
Yes.
The government said close at least 45,000 students will receive full scholarship.
Yes, full scholarship from the government.
But now the problem comes in, and what are parents asking outside there?
Yes.
The criterion which the government will use to know the level of the vulnerability of those students.
Okay.
Because of course, they say that they will be going back to the primary schools, the school head, the secondary schools. Now, most students in high school or those in primary school went to that small school in the village, but then you find that they were sponsored by their MCAs, they were sponsored by even Harampis made at home there. But now, that criterion of trying to come up with two students who will receive fully scholarships from the government. Do you think that is the right criterion to use, or do you think that there will be cartels in between that process? Because we know Kenya.
Now, Kigogo, there is even before this government announced this and put it very much open, I know students that reported to the university. And they filled forms, help forms, just like everybody else. They just filled their forms, said their whatever it is, the where they come from, and so on, and they filled and they reported in the university. And HELB did their own background check on some of them, and some of them were followed with bursaries because of the level of need that they had. And of course, there are those also that fill forms saying that they are needy. But you know, kudanganya si very easy, by the way. It's not very easy to lie, because you may lie in the first few sentences, but when it comes down here, you find that it's not adding up. The information you have given up here and the information you have given down here is not adding up. So they will be able to know here there is someone who is playing a game. Irrespective of that, what I can call, it is not about the government. It is also about us as individuals, as human beings. If a chief can decide to lie to be able to access funding for a certain student, how can the government be able to tell that this is a lie? You know, so I'm actually calling on everybody to give clear information and to give true information. It is very possible to be able to know a needy student from a student who is not very needy. It's very, very possible. It's very possible because right now, everything is linked up with everything else. By the way, right now, everything is linked. There is interlinking of information and all that. And therefore, it's very possible to be able to get the needy students. And therefore, we are not going to say that there will be cartels that will be now given this money because of corruption and because of all that. There is a way that they can be able to verify this information. The form that they are going to fill, the form that they are going to submit, it has to come from the primary schools. It has to come from the chief. It has to come from their local, their sub-county or their ward, area. So people know them there. People know them there. There is information that they can be able to collect and be able to know that this person is a needy person. Yes.
We are taking a short break, msikilizaji, then we'll be back later. You can also send us your message via SMS number 0740233476. Tell us where are you listening from and what is your question for Madam Joyce Mugoy.
Of course, don't forget visiting our website website locations, Chuka University Radio, Facebook, Twitter, or use Instagram, or find me in my Facebook page Antondolo Kigogo mwenyewe. Tutazungumza pale, tulizo kuna swali gani kwa Madam Joyce Mugoy.
Amesema tukue accountable, chifu kuwa accountable, mimi ni kuwa accountable. Wanafunzi wote wanasikiza, najua wamefurahia. Tuzame kidogo na ngoma moja, msikilizaji, tunarejea muda usio kwa mrefu. So special request ya Madam Joyce Mugoy, Career Service Director hapa Chuka University. Ako ndani msikilizaji, ameingia ndani kuanzia mida saa 2 hadi sasa hivi imekata dakika 53 baada ya saa 2 majira ya Afrika Mashariki. Ukitaka kupatana naye basi ni kule kwa Facebook, Instagram, najua pia kwa TikTok na YouTube, Touch of Grace KE. YouTube najua kabisa, ni Touch of Grace KE. Yes, my brother Anthony.
Now, welcome back to Joyce Mugoy.
Yes.
We were talking about the criteria that the government will be using to identify if this student is needy or if this student is not needy. Is this student eligible for
the
funding?
The full funding?
Exactly. Or is not eligible. But then you find that most private schools, they pick a student from a public school, a very, very, very small school in the village. They take that student to that private school because that student is a high performer,
a bright student,
so that they want, they want to raise the standards of
their
their schools,
schools.
so that they may market their schools. Now, I think this student now, if he's left out after completing, let's say, primary school, or else after completing the secondary education, is most probably to miss out this chance.
Actually, that's where I'm seeing a challenge. That's where I'm seeing a challenge on how to be able to identify the needy students, because there are students that went to private schools and very high caliber private schools. If you went to a private school, a high caliber private school, it shows that you are able to do what? To pay. And incidentally, probably you are on scholarship. So it's very, very important for them to be able to have from their background, they need to be able to explain how they went to a private school, and confirmation to be made that actually they were being sponsored in these private schools, because otherwise some of them may be left out, not because they are able, but because when they went to private schools, it looked like they were able to pay the school fees. And incidentally, probably some of them were sponsored by the management of the school, the directors, to boost the schools. We know some of the private schools, they poach these best students from public schools. They go take them to their schools so that they can boost the mean of their schools. So this is where the challenge is going to be able to prove that this student is actually needy, even though the student went to a high caliber private school.
I think the government should find a way to
they should find a way.
Background information.
Yes, and the chiefs should be responsible, the sub-chiefs should be responsible, and they should take initiative of helping these students. I know it is possible.
Exactly.
There's a parent who said there yesterday who asked me a question. If a parent can be able to cater for school fees for his or her student in a boarding secondary school where they are charged more than 50,000 per term, how will it be very hard
for them to pay the university fee? Actually, that's why I'm saying right now, I'm not seeing a problem. Please, God, na musini mistake. I'm not really seeing a big problem right now. Let's see how it works. Let's see how it works. But let's give it time. But the way it is highlighted, the way it is put, let people not fear to apply for these university courses because of all these talk people are having in the villages, saying that you're going to pay 600,000, you're going to pay 100,000, and so on. Please let them apply, and let them apply public universities. Let them apply Chuka University. Let them apply. In fact, the people who are listening to me, who are around this region, please come to Chuka University. It's going to be cheaper for you because you'll be getting cassavas from home. You'll be getting bananas from home. You'll be getting waru from home. So it will not be very expensive for you to go through your education here in Chuka University because you are within the locality, within the area where you come from. So I'm just encouraging them. Let them apply.
Now, Madam Jason Mugoy, in the next 2 minutes, can you talk to your daughters and your sons outside here who already sat for their KCSE examinations? They have their results. They are doing the revision of the courses. Give them a word.
Let me tell you, it's good. Let them revise the courses. Let them revise the courses, all of them, and pick the courses that they are able to do. Because even if they're looking for that high course or that marketable course that probably they don't qualify, it will not actually help them. Each one of them should revise their courses. Choose a university if you got a C+ and above. Choose a diploma from reputable technical institutions. Choose a certificate from reputable institutions, and also choose artisan courses because they are there. Actually, all of them can be able to transit from secondary school to college level, to university level, because all those courses are there. Even that person who has a D-, even that person who has an E, there is a course that they can be able to do. So let them not lose hope. Let them go there and look for these opportunities. Yes.
There is someone who has asked a question through our SMS line. He's saying, "Hello, Chuka University Radio, ni Davik from Slota. And I wanted to ask if, for example, in Chuka, in terms of electrical engineering, it had a cutoff points of 34 in cluster points. Is there anything that they may reduce cluster to as low as 30.
let me say this about cluster points and cutoff points. If cutoff point, Chuka University cutoff points is 34, is saying is 34 for that particular course. It cannot go down. It can only go probably high, depending on the number of students that have performed well. Because this cutoff point 34 is for the other year. It's not even for this 2022. It's for 2021. The last student we took had 34 cluster points, and that is what we are referring to as cutoff points. So let them not assume the cutoff points are going to be lower. Even if your cutoff points are low with 0.001, please don't pick that course because you'll be left out. Pick a course where your cluster points are higher than the cutoff points of the university. That is what I'm advising the students. Don't pick any course hoping that the cutoff point will be lower. What happens if it is not lowered? Another advice, if there are those students that were in secondary school and they did their exams through cheating, they got the exam, they bought the exam and they got very high marks, please don't choose these high courses. These high caliber courses. Tafadhali usichague hizo courses because usijaribu kuchagua hizo courses if you know you cheated. If you know your school was involved in cheating of the in the KCSE exam. If you know the marks that you got are not yours. Usijaribu kuchagua course ya high caliber. Utakuja, utasoma, tutakuandikia barua ya due to academic reasons you cannot be able to continue because utaanguka mtihani. You will not be able to keep up of that particular course. So choose a course within. Yes.
Muzomi from Chuka asked a question. Can I qualify in a school offering 35.52 as a cluster while I have a cluster of 35.70?
35.70. And the other one is?
The school is offering 35.52.
No. No, he cannot qualify. Please don't choose any course. Don't choose any course where the cutoff point of the university are higher than your own cutoff points, than your own cluster points. Please don't choose that. Even if it is with 0.001, choose a course where your cluster points are higher than the cutoff points of the university.
Anaitwa Majamzozi Mgoi, msikilizaji ameingia ndani na sasa
they are welcome also in the university. They can come to Chuka University. We are there in the office. Let them consult.
Seek guidance.
Seek guidance.
Tumeomba msamaha kwa Lang'at kwa sababu tumechelewa, tumechukua dakika zake mbili. Na kwa hivyo basi tunaondoka. Asante sana Madam Joyce Mgoi, tutaonana baadaye.
Asante.